different in terms of the interpretation. I'm not going to go over each and every single card. It's just the energies I'm picking up, okay? To shorten the video and to also make it flow a little bit better so that it's not disjointed. One of the major themes that I am seeing for you here is a lot of you are in the process of restoring your financial foundation, okay? So what this means to me, and especially for those of you who are, just single, fairly young, trying to get by, I feel like this is the month in which, things are going to be restored. I feel that you are heavily focused on getting ahead in your current job, in your current career track, or even, there's a lot of money coming through where you're going to be able to, have a lot more disposable income. There's a lot more money for leisure activities, for, enjoying your life and to give of yourself to other people in a way where you might, have dish out or dole out gifts in general to other people. So your financial house looks very, very stable, and it looks almost as if you have a lot of disposable money coming through, and you're going to be alleviating, anxieties and fears that you've had about money in the past. And I'm sensing the past 5 years, the past 5 months, if there has been financial issues plaguing you, this is a month where you're going to start to feel good. You're going to start to feel very productive, and you're going to start to feel there is a huge, inflow of money overall in order to, move ahead with new projects, move ahead with decluttering your environment, getting new outfits, getting new, like I'm seeing a lot of people buying like luxury items, which is always a nice thing to see because it indicates money is going to be flowing for you this month. So the heavy emphasis here is work as well as money, okay? And I feel like it's coming in a very, very fruitful way. So it's going to alleviate anxieties and fears about money and savings and things like that from the past. I do see a lot of leisure activities coming through, a lot of social outings, a lot of social events that you are being invited to, and a lot of opportunities overall for socializing and, attending functions where you can be with like-minded people, where you can be with friends. Going back to, what I mentioned last month, and I feel like what's coming through for this month is there are causes for celebrations, but I do want to warn you regarding friendships, okay? Um, I'm getting this energy, and I feel like a lot of you are in a new environment. So this can be a new work environment, a new running into, like a new social circle. And I feel like there's this energy here where you're kind of like not really sure what to say. So you're rarely tongue-tied, but I don't feel that it's an energy about being tongue-tied. I feel that you're not sure of your audience and you're not really sure what topics to bring up, what's appropriate, what's taboo, what's a hot trigger topic, and what's a good topic to bring up in conversation. So you're still doing this testing the waters, trying to make sure about your new social circle or even your new professional circle, what's appropriate. You're still trying to figure things out. And that's great because, you're very good at reading people, and you're also very good at like making people feel very at ease. So this is just a normal process. And I do sense as well, you will run into people that you might not agree with, just the things that you do and the things that you believe in, things that they believe in as well. You might not always agree with them. But I do feel there is an energy of letting your guard down, of not having to argue, of not having to, prove a specific point. People are just there. They could agree to disagree. And you're not going to be, kicking up a fuss. If they don't agree with you, then you're just going to go about your merry way. Because I feel like you know what you're doing, and the financial inflow it's so harmonious that you feel like you're on the right track. So you don't need to prove to anybody otherwise, okay? what I'm seeing in your work environment is that, and it's, I'm sensing somebody making a mistakes in the work environment, and you might have like a very strong emotional connection with this person. You might like this person, you might be friends with them. So I do see an energy of like, you working together with people that you really like, whose company you really enjoy, and there's a lot of joking around. There's a lot of just verbal rapport between you and the people that you're working with. And I'm seeing like somebody making a mistake in the work environment, and I feel like you might cover for them. You might like work together to get rid of the evidence, and then fix the problem, of course. But I feel like you might work together to fix whatever the problem is and to help them. So I feel like somebody owes you a favor by the end of this month, and especially in your work situation, your work environment. um that's not always a bad thing, because sometimes we have to cover for each other. But I feel like this is just the first of it. Okay, so just be a little bit careful and don't put your job on the line. Okay, don't be too eager to rush in and fix everybody's problems, and you don't have to take on the burden of concealing things. So just be very careful about that. I feel like it's very minor. It's sort of like, a coworker coming in a little bit late for work for whatever reason, traffic, car issues, transportation issues, and a boss asks like, "Oh, have you seen such and such?" And you're like, "Oh, he or she is in the bathroom," for example, knowing he and she did not come to work just yet. So I feel like it's little minor things, and I feel you have a very good emotional rapport with another person in your work environment, so you don't want to throw them under the bus, and that's fine. But I do see some things like that coming through, where you have to cover for another person. Just don't make it a habit. Just don't make it a habit, because it is an enabling behavior, and they need to, they need to be responsible for their actions. Okay, so if this is like I feel like it might be the beginning. So just be aware, don't make it a habit. Okay, so that's what I'm sensing overall, and I know that is a very specific message, but I do see that coming through strongly. um Overall, I feel like we have the same, and not feeling afraid, like not being afraid of getting our hands dirty. Whatever is in your work environment that needs to be done, I feel that you're which you realize that what, it needs to be fixed. Let's get our hands dirty and let's get to work. So I feel like your energy is coming through quite determined this month. And I feel like towards the beginning of the month, you're going to be a little bit iffy. Like, am I doing the right thing? Is this how it's supposed to be done? And so I see you perusing a lot of manuals, looking, like Googling for information, doing a lot of research to see how something is done. And then towards, the later part of the month, that's when I feel you're getting down and you're starting to do things in a very directed, purposeful manner. So it means that, the first half of the month, you might be figuring out, like, how do I do this? How has it been done before? And why didn't it work before? So that you can find, the best way to do something to get the result that you're looking for. I feel a lot of people might be in school and you're doing experiments. That's what I'm sensing. And I feel a lot of people might be in the kitchen trying to like fix up a recipe. So you might be a chef, you might be, working in a bakery even, where the ingredients and that you're dealing with are they're very fickle. So they need a specific temperature, they need a specific mixing procedure. And then I feel like some of you in school in the biological sciences, and you're dealing with harsh chemicals or harsh or very fickle chemical reactions, for example. So it's like fine tuning things so that things are happening the way that you want them to, and documenting your results so that you know how to get the same reaction the next time around. So I'm feeling like you're in a very, you're doing things in a very systematic way. It's like process of elimination, trial and error, but you're not doing it in a chaotic way. You might have done that in the past, like the past 2 months. And now you're figuring out what works, what doesn't, and you're going to fine tune whatever is working well so that you can have like a consistent result the next time you do this project, this experiment, or you do this, you go with this course of action. So I do see a lot of fine tuning that's needed and necessary, but I do feel it's going to be really good for you. You're a little bit of a scientist for this month, fine tuning your own work to find what works best. Okay, so that's what I'm sensing here. Let me see if there's anything else that's coming through. They're saying here, if you are waiting on communication from a person, and especially if the person is from afar, because I'm seeing a lot of nostalgia, a lot of longing, a lot of like, I feel even like waiting on communication, especially from family members or people that you have a very strong emotional connection to. There is going to be messages coming through, especially with people or divorce, and you're waiting on, some type of follow-up regarding financial transactions, closing up financial assets or liquidating financial assets. There's going to be some news coming through when it comes to shared resources between you and another person. It could even be roommates. It could even be parents if they are, if they have like money that's owed to you, or if they are managing your assets. That's what I'm sensing. It could also be, an ex-spouse that might owe you back child support, or even owe you alimony, or even owe some money that is due to you. There's going to be news and communication coming through between joint finances that you have with another person, and especially when it comes to children. Okay, children, pets, things like that. So there's going to be conversations here about financial news, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good, so not to worry, and it's going to be quite positive. I don't see hostility coming through. So if in the past the interaction has been quite hostile, this is the month in which it's the dust settles, you're clearing up the air, and you're going to be on your way. Okay, so the energy here is very detached, is very, I'm just going to take care of this and then be out of it. So I feel like you're not meddling in other people's affairs, and you rarely do that anyways. You're more on the sidelines looking in to see what's going on, to have a clearer understanding of that situation. And if somebody needs help, then you jump in and help them, and then very quickly you're going to be leaving. So I feel like the energy is very like hands off, let them take care of things on their own. And especially for those of you who are parents, who are dealing with young children too. So like, teachers, caretakers, and things like that. And even if you have your own children, I'm seeing that approach might be very, very good. Okay, so if in the past you have like a very unruly child that you're dealing with, and you might have pushed and pushed and pushed. This is the month where you take a different approach, and you're not going to push anymore. I feel like you're going to relinquish control. And so it's going to be a little bit challenging because, when we're dealing with children, we feel the need to want to do everything for them because they tend to be a little bit sloppy. And I feel like, when you watch children eat, or when you watch them color or whatever they do, they have that motor coordination that is not fine-tuned yet, and so you feel like, oh, it's just neater if I do it for you. It's just it takes less time if I do it for you. But I feel that you're going to take a little bit more of a detached stance and watch them do it to make sure that they learn through trial and error on their own. And it's going to be a little bit of a challenging process because I feel a lot of you are just like, grimacing. Like, I want to do that for you because your motor coordination is not on par with what I want. But the smart thing to do is, just let them learn on their own through trial and error, as you are learning on your own through fine-tuning trial and error as an adult. Okay, so hands off, a little bit more hands off approach is going to be very productive for this month, and it sounds counterintuitive, but I do feel this is something that you guys might have been grappling with for the past few months, and the old way is not working. And I feel like you might have been pushing for a specific thing. So this month, take a different approach, okay? It's going to prove to be very, very good for you, for your emotional health as well, and to allow the other person to learn so that they can get it right the next time, okay? So learn by doing. So that's what I feel is coming through. Um, in your home environment, I believe I mentioned for you guys some months ago, there might have been like an emotional rift between you and a family member. Okay, so I feel like if there is an emotional rift, try to mend that relationship, because it's coming through here again in the sibling house. And the sibling house, we have here the Chariot in the reverse, and this is the third major arcana card fourth in this spread. And with it shown in the reverse position, it's basically a situation where two people, you and possibly a sibling or a family member even, are working at cross purposes with one another. And it's like no matter how much you pull and push, you can't see where the other person's coming from. They likewise can't see where you're coming from. And I keep seeing a lot of you with like a younger sibling that might be a little bit uncooperative. And I do feel if you are an older sibling, I know it sounds unfair, but I feel like it might be uh, in your best interest. And especially, I feel like it might be your responsibility to try to rectify this situation as the older sibling, as the one who has more life experience, as the one who should take ownership of that relationship and try to repair it, okay? So I feel like that's what's coming through here. And as well, I feel like there is an emotional rift here, or even a geographical distance between you and members of your family. You might have been once, very close knit, and this is the month that's coming through where you're trying to figure like, what do we do now? How can we, have more family reunions? How can we reconnect with one another? So I feel everybody might be living in different states, different countries, different areas, and it's really hard to coordinate some type of a coming together overall. So that's another area I feel that you should, try to work through if there has been emotional rifts or even emotional distance between you and family members. I feel like family members mean a lot to you this month for whatever reason, and I feel a lot of it has to do with the fact that you're no longer bogged down with financial obligations. You have more disposable income. You might be contemplating, traveling to see parents, elderly parents, wanting to take care of elderly parents, or, trying to reach out to see if they need help. And then the same thing for siblings, those of you with siblings. You might have opportunities now, the time and the money in order to, not have to worry about your own survival. So you're thinking more about the relationships that really matter to you and how to rectify those situations, okay? I do feel a process of coming back together with a person that you have been estranged from. So for some of you that could be, an ex. Coming back together doesn't always mean, getting back together in a romantic relationship. It just basically means an opportunity to set things right, an opportunity to reconcile and have a better understanding of what exactly happened. How did things get to this point? And then for others of you, it just could be a family member where you're trying to figure out what exactly happened to us. How did things get to this point? And what can we do to move forward? And I do feel like with that situation, you need to be very delicate, okay? I feel that it's an emotionally charged situation, and it's really important to hear their side of the story. Okay, so you might have like in your head what you did or what they did. and you might have an idea of how things got to the way they became. But I do feel it is really important for you this month, and especially as an air sign, to really listen without judgment, without defensiveness, without your guard up. Just listen to what they have to say. At the end of it, I feel that there's going to be reconciliation, and there's going to be almost like that consensus. Okay, so agree to disagree, let's move on from here. And so I feel like a lot of just deeply emotionally charged topics that might be brought up that you were not aware of. And so you're going to be getting some communication that really, opened your eyes. And I feel that the communication is coming in a way where you're not going to be defensive. You're not going to be, feeling attacked. You're not going to be feeling attacked. Okay? So you're no longer putting your guard up. The communication is coming through. So you're going to get the satisfaction of having your questions answered. And I feel like it's happening in a way where I just see some of you dealing with somebody who's a little bit younger. And so you're giving them a lot of leeway. You're giving them a lot of like the benefit of the doubt so that they can explain themselves, so that they can tell you from their point of view what's going on and how they perceive the reality. And I feel like it's going to make you chuckle a little bit because you're just like, that's so far from the truth. And then you can get an opportunity to tell them your version of what you believe to be the truth. So there's a meeting of, it's like a little bit difficult, but I feel like meeting somebody halfway, allowing them to talk, allowing a conversation to happen between you and a person that you have been long estranged from or recently estranged from. But either way, there seems to be a lot of unfinished business, a lot of things that needs to be hashed out in a loving way, and a lot of like giving the other person the benefit of the doubt so that they can thoroughly explain a situation based on their perspective, which might not jive with your reality. But either way, it was something that where they felt like they were judged unfairly, where they felt like they didn't fit in, where they felt like you didn't care. So honestly, I feel like that's what the conversation is going to be about, okay? So there's a lot of healing that can be had here, but you need to let down your guard, and you need to give credit to the other version of the story or the other side of the story, okay? So diplomacy, goes both ways. And it's not just to arrive at a compromise, it's also to arrive at a truth that we both can live with, that we both can tolerate, okay? And a lot of the times, too, diplomacy doesn't really take into account like the emotional aspect of it. So we often think that, like no matter how we treat a situation, the emotional impact that it has on the other person, it's always real, right? Like to them, you can't discredit that because it's always real. So they're going to push for a specific agenda. And so it's really important for you to acknowledge how they feel, because that's the first step to really putting yourself in their shoes and understand that, okay, I guess it could be perceived this way. So I feel like that's the important thing, acknowledging how they felt so that you could not do the same things again in the future, but also acknowledging how they felt so that you can be a little bit more mindful about how their sensitivities as a person. So that's going to be quite important coming through here. And I'm just going to leave this reading with the fact that, I feel like this message came through for Geminis, I feel like last year. And Geminis are typically very, very mindful about, not hurting other people's feelings. So they're a little bit more conscientious last month. And I feel like Aquarius got a little bit of a wake-up call and as to how their actions and their words specifically might be perceived by others. So I feel like they might not be aware of the things that they say, the judgment that is associated with their words. And I feel like they're becoming a lot more mindful about that. And so for this to come in for this month, I feel that a lot of you are going to also be very mindful as well about, how other people perceive you. It's not always bad. It's not always bad. But I do feel that, the things here is how emotionally sensitive other people are, and how to navigate those the sensitivities so that you both don't offend each other, and that you both can work together to restore the relationship too. Okay, and for some of you too, this could be like I keep seeing family members, but family members can also be people that you are living with as well. Okay, there might be, a lot of the times too, we live together with somebody in close proximity and in small quarters. We know how to push each other's buttons, and we might do a lot of things that inadvertently upset the other person that we have no idea about. So it's important to see things from the other person's perspective. Okay, and that's something you're generally very good at. But I feel like this person that you're dealing with is not somebody who's very verbal. They sulk in silence, and so it's really hard for you to read them. You might be like, okay, what's going on? Why are you withdrawing? Why are you sulking? And they feel offended, they feel attacked, or they just, they behave in a different way. And so they're not going to be verbal about, their complaints. So I feel like they require a little bit more prodding, a little bit more, handling with like kitty gloves. So they require a little bit more of a sensitive touch. Okay, so I hope that is helpful for you guys, and best of luck for this month. I'm going to do your relationship reading here, and I didn't get any messages coming through with relationships, but this is always a good card. This is a card about working diligently to fix something, to continue on the same course of action in order to, work at a relationship. So overall, this is a very good card. So a lot of you might be in a relationship right now. So let me get the cards here for you Libras. A lot of you might be in a relationship right now, and you might have been together for a few months, and or a few years even. So I feel like this is a card about solid relationships. Okay, so for those of you in stable relationships, they're saying to keep at it, and they're saying to, keep working at things. Don't let problems build up. Address them. And if your partner is the type that withdraws from conflict as well, I feel like it's really important for you to find another way to approach them. So if they're a little bit more on the passive aggressive side, write letters to each other and hash things out that way, where it's a little bit less confrontational. If they are more on the aggressive side and you feel like you can't get a word in, write them a letter and demand that they write you back, rather than, having that confrontation. So if there has been problems, that's they're saying like maybe a different approach is going to be more helpful. Okay, and I see a lot of letter writing. So let's see here. And then others of you singles, too involved in your work and you're not making love your priority. So I feel like this is a good month for you to relax a little bit. Okay, but either way, finances looks very, very stable. So I feel like you're happily working, and there could also be romantic attraction as well at work. And I feel like they're saying there's somebody interested in some of you on the work environment. And so they say take a break, take a walk around, look around and see what's available for you out there in the work environment. Just be careful, dating coworkers. Just be very careful, because professionally it's not a smart move. Not for any other reasons than that, but I just feel like professionally it might not be a smart move. But either way, I feel like there's a lot of attraction that can be had here in the work environment. Okay, so singles, you've got a really good, you've got good prospects coming through. Oops. I'm going to pull one more card for you, mainly because you've got two people here. Okay, so yeah, a lot of workplace attraction and it seems like you've got a secret admirer from your work environment, and you're so immersed in your work that they're afraid to approach you. It seems like that to me. And they're also hesitant because it is a workplace environment, so they might not feel like it's professional to approach you. But I feel like some of you might know who this person is already, because we have here flirtation already happening. So let me just talk about the foundation, and especially for those of you, you could be single or couple. This is a person that's already in your work environment. We have here the King of Wands. So this is a fire sign, a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. And this is a really, I feel like somebody with a great sense of humor. He or she is making you laugh. Okay, so it's somebody who is a little bit very eccentric, very goal-oriented, very ambitious. Um, and I feel like they know what they're doing, very competent. Okay, somebody who's just like whistling while they work. Somebody who's very he or she has got a really good sense of humor. And both of these cards indicate, you know, a lot of attraction, a lot of flirtation. It's somebody coming through, making you laugh, wanting to get your attention. It's somebody who might be very, very like alpha, that alpha energy. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be the life of the party, okay? And some of you, so this is shown up in the foundation. And basically means that this is a person that you want to be in a relationship with. So that's for you singles. There are restrictions here for those of you who are single. I feel like you're playing it cool. I feel like you want them to make a gesture towards you. So the person might be a little bit flirtatious, and you're just like, I really like them, but I wonder if they act like this around everybody, or is it just me? So you're taking a little bit of a step back and you're observing. And I feel like the restriction might be that some of you are in another relationship, and so you're not going to go for it. And then for others, it might be because it's a workplace, like a work colleague or even a supervisor. So this gesture that is, there's a lot of flirtation, but the gesture can't be made because it's not professional. Okay. And likewise, I do feel like you or the other person might be in a supervisory position. You might be concerned about your work. You might be, you know, concerned about your professional image, about your professional reputation, your status, and your standing right now, where you're not really sure if you can go ahead with this. So there's a lot on the line. Work is on the line, as well as your reputation is on the line. And I'm sensing that some of you might be working under this person. So I feel like this person is making like very, very obvious advances towards you. And you like the attention though, Libra, and I feel like you like this person, but there are some constraints here, okay? Moving from that, let's go into the past. We have here the Emperor, and we have as well the Five of Cups. So this is the relationship partner from the past. Somebody quite controlling, quite, I want to say like bullish in their ways. And they could be quite difficult to argue with. So I feel like you had this person in your past. And it's linked up here with the Five of Cups. So this might be somebody that you left behind. And you're fearful about dating. Not that you're not ready, but you're just like, I don't want to encounter this same type of person where they're just, my way or the highway. It's somebody who is quite type A dominant as well, but they do, I feel like they exhibit their dominance in a way that is very, very difficult, like controlling and, of subversion. I feel like it's very like covert under the radar. It's not like in a way where you know right away that they're being forceful. I feel like it's through words, like verbal manipulation. It's through like underhanded tactics. So I feel like if you were involved with this person in the past, it could very well be another fire sign, so Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. But I feel like if you were involved with this person in the past, I feel like it affected your self-esteem. Okay, so you have moved away from this because this is now in the past, which brings us to the present environment where you have dropped a major burden in your life and you're moving on. So there was like a breakup that recently happened for some of you, and it was with somebody who was quite controlling. And we have as well the High Priestess in the reverse. And the High Priestess in the reverse is basically telling you that that situation, I feel like they have the potential to be coming back in for this month, and you need to be very careful, okay? Control issues in relationships indicate some serious like imbalances. It does indicate like it's not really based on love, it's based on control. So I feel that you might have been aware of this, in terms of like understanding what it means. Okay, this person is controlling. But I feel like if they soften up, if they sweeten their words, who was very controlling in the past, it's not going to pan out the way that you'd hope. And it's not built on love and, a long, stable, respectful relationship. Okay, so just be careful about that. And I feel like you're kind of like in a position now where you want to, engage with the new people, and some of you might have new people coming through. I do feel here an earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo, or a Capricorn, and that's workplace related. I also feel this fire sign who's really making a big gesture towards you. So Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. And this is what I'm getting as well. I feel like if you are playing the field, if you're just out and dating and, getting to know somebody, there is going to be a fire sign here that is really catching your attention. And I feel like this person is so, they have a great sense of humor. And I feel like they have traveled a lot. They might be different from you, like, culturally, ethnically, linguistically. They might be very exciting. And there's that sense of like, love at first sight, really strong, intense, emotional, and physical connection that you have with another person. If you have started recently dating them, I do feel that you want this person in your life for the long haul. And you might have narrowed down your options to choose this person exclusively, this fire sign. So I have a fire sign here, a very, very solid character in your life right now if the relationship was not built on control. Okay, and I have like a new fire sign for those of you who are single that's really catching your attentions, but you're still a little bit hesitant because you're not really sure whether or not they are flirtatious with everybody or just you, whether or not they are, the relationship type of a person. I feel they are very relationship oriented, and I feel like they have a good heart. Okay, and especially if this is a new person, they have like some good qualities about them, and I feel like they're very admirable. They're very strong, very brave, courageous, very admirable. And then others, I'm sensing that if you have left a controlling relationship, you're very skeptically examining people, making sure that they make the cut, and you're a lot more focused on your career rather than relationships. So overall, it looks really good, Libras, and I feel like, some options are going to be narrowed down so that you can, move ahead. So crowning this reading here is the Ten of Coins. And the Ten of Coins is, Generational wealth, this is things that are built up over long periods of time. A lot of you might simply be working very diligently to build up your empire so that you can, join assets with another person. And I also feel that overall you are going to be in a position where you're going to decide on, how to move forward with a partner. Okay, so like taking a relationship to the next level for those of you who are involved here with a fire sign. So I don't see anything else here. I'm just going to leave it at that. But either way, I feel like you have somebody in your life here that you want to build something lasting with. Okay. Singles, very good month to date. Put yourself out there. Okay, this is like looking at other people's profile and seeing what's available and seeing if anything sparks your interest. So it's a great month to date. Put yourself out there. All right. So I do wish you all the best. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, the information is in the description box below, as well as the donation link. Should you use that, I would appreciate it very much. So I am usually booked about a week and a week and a half out right now. Talk to you soon. Take care of yourself, Libras. Bye bye.